Live from WSLS, this is 10 News at Noon, working for you.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Patrick McKee.
And I'm Jonathan Kegas.
Seeing some sunshine outside and a little better than we were this morning when it was quite frigid.
It was, yeah, especially for April standards. Temperatures started off in the 20s for some of us. Most of us were in the 30s this morning. Now we're working our way through the 50s on our way to the 60s, and we have a whole lot of sunshine outside. Here's a live look in Roanoke with our airport Skycam from the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport. Hardly a cloud in the sky. Definitely not one in this shot. Temperatures again working through the 50s on our way to the 60s. Things look pretty good for the weekend. We'll have that weekend forecast for you. Of course, all the events going on, we'll have those forecasts for you as well in a few minutes, Patrick.
Today marks 19 years since two students walked into Columbine High School in Colorado and opened fire. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold killed 12 students and one teacher. 23 people were hurt. Harris and Klebold both committed suicide in the school's library after a brief shootout with police. The Columbine shooting ranks as one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. And thousands of students and teachers across the country are walking out of their classrooms today to honor those who were killed 19 years ago. In light of the recent Parkland, Florida shooting, they also want lawmakers to know there is still work that needs to be done. Students from high schools in Columbine and Parkland are joining together for today's Vote for Our Lives rally. Both of these schools are hoping their shared experiences will help them reach their ultimate goal.
Finally see that we aren't alone, that some other people in other states far away from us feel the same way and want to make change.
They want to get more young people to vote in November's election. Students at Douglas Freeman High School in Henrico County also walked out of class this morning. It was just the start of a day expected to see larger rallies in the capital city. Thousands of people expected to join a march in downtown to protest gun violence in schools. Governor Northam will speak at a rally at 2 this afternoon at the state capitol. We will stream that event live on our website, WSLS.com. A local community joins in on the nationwide protest. One Voice Blacksburg held a rally at the playing fields between Kipps Elementary and Blacksburg Middle Schools. The theme of the walkout is to protect children in the community. Adults formed a ring around the field and joined hands to create a barrier. Inside of the barrier is where students then spent 17 minutes for the vigil. We will continue following the marches here on 10 News throughout the day. When we're not on the air, you can get updates on WSLS.com and the 10 News mobile app. We continue following a developing story out of Florida as police say a high school student is in the hospital after getting shot in the ankle. The shooting happened at Forest High School in Ocala. Officers say a suspect is in custody and that person is a student at the school. They're still trying to figure out if the shooting was intentional. Students have been dismissed for the day. They were taken to a nearby church where they were reunited with their parents. We are working for you to get the very latest on this developing story. Stay with WSLS.com for the latest. Reaction is pouring in today after two Florida officers were ambushed and killed. Authorities say they were eating at a Chinese restaurant when a man walked in and opened fire. The deputies were in uniform. The officers were not able to return fire. The only wound the suspect suffered was from his own gun. Incidents like these are not common in the Trenton community. The crime rate there is 94% lower than the national average.
Never. This is insane. It's sickening. I mean, these are local officers doing their job, eating lunch, and it's just insane.
Two officers had no prior history with the suspect. New at noon, Danville Police is investigating after getting reports of shots fired near the Astoria Hotel on Piney Forest Road. Officers say it is unclear if the shots were fired at the hotel or just nearby. Police also tell us they have found a car with burn marks in the parking lot. Officers brought in a canine to carry out a search. This time, they don't believe anyone was hurt. Back to the forecast now as we see sunshine outside for us. Let's see if that carries over into our weekend as we hand things back over to Jonathan Kegas with the very latest. Jonathan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Patrick. A lot of sunshine with us, as you mentioned, and temperatures are responding to that sun. We're getting back into the 50s, on our way to the 60s again, and the wind much better today. Still a breeze at times, but definitely not as persistent or gusty. Here's a live look in Roanoke with our Carillion Skycam this afternoon, and you see all the sunshine. You can't even find a cloud on this Skycam either. There's not very many in the sky. Satellite and radar showing what we just saw with our live look in Roanoke there. Not a cloud to be had across the entire region. Look at this. We're doing much better in the temperature department this afternoon when you compare it to yesterday as well. Mid-50s for us in Roanoke. Good afternoon in South Boston. We are at 55. Still on the cooler side in Blacksburg. We're heading 49 right now. We'll all be in the upper 50s, lower 60s by later on this afternoon. A touch warmer for the weekend. We will have that weekend forecast as well as highlighting a ton of events on the docket for the region coming up in a few minutes, Patrick.
We are following breaking news out of our nation's capital. The Democratic National Committee is suing the Trump campaign, the Russian government, and WikiLeaks. They're accusing the parties of conspiring to disrupt the 2016 presidential election. The president's son, as well as Jared Kushner, are among defendants. The DNC says Russia found a willing and active partner in the Trump campaign to attack American democracy and to defeat Hillary Clinton. Details just breaking on this. We will continue to follow them and have more for you throughout the day on WSLS.com and later today, starting at 5. Virginia ramps up its efforts to fight the opioid crisis. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is giving Virginia nearly $10 million to combat the issue. That money is funded through the second year of the Opioid State Targeted Response Program. Recipients used the first year's money to implement medication-assisted treatment. It was also used to promote prevention strategies and build recovery support services. In 2016, Virginia's health commissioner declared a public health emergency because of the state's growing opioid addiction problem. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine introduces a new law that can help people who are addicted to drugs. He calls it the Ensuring Access to Quality Recovery Living Act. This act would give Virginia the resources and guidelines to implement policies in recovery homes. Kaine is hoping this will help people kick their addictions. The senator says he's receiving a lot of support and positive feedback. He hopes it passes through the House and Senate very soon. Honoring the life of a former First Lady. The public will get the chance to pay their respects to Barbara Bush today. This is video of her body being moved this morning, headed to St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston, Texas. Bush will lie in repose for a public viewing until midnight. Her funeral will be held tomorrow. You can watch our coverage of that tomorrow starting at noon right here on WSLS 10. One person who will not attend the funeral is President Donald Trump. The White House released a statement saying it is out of respect for the Bush family. The president says he wants to avoid disruptions. First Lady Melania Trump and several former U.S. presidents are planning to attend. In health headlines, millions of Americans are living in places with unhealthy air. According to the American Lung Association, ozone pollution is getting worse. In its annual State of the Air report card, the ALA revealed nearly 130 million people live in areas that earn a failing grade for ozone pollution. 8 of the top 10 worst cities were in California. Inhaling this polluted air can trigger coughing and asthma attacks. Some health officials believe the ozone is being destroyed because of climate change. New guidelines provide a foundation on how to prevent the elderly from falling. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force is updating its recommendations for older adults to avoid bone-breaking injuries. Experts say there's enough evidence that physical activity is key. Doctors should tailor exercise routines to the individual's abilities and goals. The task force is also scaling back its vitamin D recommendation. The group says it has not found enough evidence that shows the supplement is capable of such protection. Still to come, Netflix is seeking more recognition from film studios. The plans that could put the streaming company on the big screen. Well, first, a live look over the Roanoke Valley. Lots of sunshine. Jonathan's back with your weekend forecast next.